Hello, my name is Mia Gutsell. I'm going to explain in this video the study I conducted about the usage of Google Classroom in a Catholic school during May 2018. In this presentation, I will be covering the following areas: the research question, the literature of previous research, the methodology of this study, the summary of the major data, the synthesis of the data trends, the coaching intervention, the recommendations for other schools, and finally, the citations. With that being stated, let's look at the research question. My research question is listed as follows: what factors influence educators' motivation to utilize the tools available in a LMS in a Catholic high school setting? LMS stands for Learning Management System, which is a software application or web based technology used to plan, implement, and assess a specific learning process according to ROUSE. To start off with a basic understanding of this question, it is necessary to consider the previous research. The previous literature examining these subjects included LMS perceptions, resistance in technology usage, and Catholic schools' usage of technology. In the first area, teachers tended to have a negative perspective of a LMS due to varying factors, such as perceived ease of use and self efficacy. Students tended to engage more positively with a LMS. For the second area, it is important to note that teacher belief influenced technology usage, as did the ability to even access the devices. Not all schools have equal access, even in 2018, the time of this presentation. Finally, Catholic schools as an environment are unique in terms of technology integration. Teachers tend to use technology as a resource rather than a tool for student usage, and community engagement is not always present with regards to integrating technology in these particular schools. The impact of technology in general is not always positive as well. Hall stated that there was very little to no connection between improved standardized test scores and student technology usage. Consequently, this review demonstrates the need to examine how a LMS is used in the Catholic school environment since it is not generally studied. The methodology of this research was both qualitative and quantitative. A survey with a mixture of multiple choice and some open ended questions was sent to the faculty of the high school under study to gain an overview of how the LMS Google Classroom was used in the environment. From these responses, 2 teachers were selected for further research through an observation and an interview. During the observation, the number of times the teacher used the LMS was noted and the general activities were recorded. The interviews were completely qualitative with open ended questions. From this methodology, specific points of data were gathered. The summary of the major data shall be explicated upon now. Please note only the most notable pieces of information are to be examined here, but other data is present in the full research paper. 78% of the user base responded to the survey, and over half of the respondents have worked 10 years or more in education, as can be seen from this chart. As such, the demographics of the school under study suggest a faculty with more experience in teaching rather than less. In terms of how the teachers use Google Classroom, while there were various data points, only this most noteworthy one is being examined here. In this chart, it can be seen that videos, Google Docs, Microsoft Word documents, and images are the most posted items on Google Classroom. The other G Suite tools are not posted as often. The educators in this study did state they wanted more training to better understand Google Classroom. How the tool itself is specifically used was better understood from the observations and interviews. Before examining these points of data, it is necessary to explain the educator's background. Both educators studied were world language teachers, but as can be seen here, They had a vastly different background and experience at the time of this study. Educator A, the Spanish teacher, did not use Google Classroom at all. Instead, she used a Weebly site as her LMS. Educator B used Google Classroom as the means of facilitating her information to her students. The various items that were most notably recorded in the observation can be seen in this chart. The interviews of these two educators demonstrated why they took their different actions. Both educators emphasized the idea of beginning the lesson with the objective or plan in order to benefit the students, but the similarities diverged from there. Educator A had been exposed to another LMS prior to Google Classroom, specifically Blackboard. As a result, Educator A decided to create her own system since she felt the training on Google Classroom was not sufficient in the environment. Educator B had not been exposed to any LMS other than Google Classroom. She tried the tool and experimented with it in order to learn how to use it. As such, the activities in the classroom were facilitated based on the exposure to the tool. To best understand this data, it is necessary to note the major trends across the board. From the surveys, it became clear that even though Google Classroom was used, the educators wanted more training for the tool itself. This situation demonstrates the need for professional development. Intriguingly enough, when observing and interviewing educators A and B, it became clearer that exposure to the tool determined usage as well. The more educator B used the tool, the more comfortable she felt with it. As educator A had been allowed to create her own LMS, she saw no reason to use Google Classroom. These ideas informed the coaching that took place within the study. Educator A and B both experienced training in G Suite tools, but each had a different focus. 15 to 20-minute sessions were spent with the teachers explaining a particular G Suite tool. Educator A was walked through how Google Classroom functioned in a step-by-step fashion. While she found she did not like the tool, she found she understood it better after this session. Educator B specifically wanted to understand the benefits of Google Forms. In her session, she was introduced to how this tool could be used, but she stated that it would not necessarily help her educate students in the French language. From these ideas, recommendations for the implementation of a LMS can be determined. When implementing a LMS or transitioning to a new one, it is necessary to approach the task from two perspectives: training and creating a culture shift. During the training stages, it is necessary to gather data on what the teachers already know in order to determine what tools are used. From there, educators switching to Google Classroom must be educated in how to use the G Suite before Google Classroom, since this LMS functions best with G Suite tools. Specific mentors should be created in order to help with the transition phase so that they can guide others in adapting the LMS. For the culture shift aspect, it is important that leaders in a school foster collaboration with its staff so that people can receive help in real time. Support must be available whenever the faculty need it in order for them to feel comfortable with the tool and to succeed. Finally, educators should give feedback to Google so that this company understands how to improve this tool. Giving feedback is accessible from the main dashboard of Google Classroom. With these steps taking place, the integration of this particular LMS can have a smoother process. For more information on where I gathered my research, please go to my work cited at tinyurl.com/GWCGCCS18 or scan the QR code here. Thank you for watching.